to open the book and to loose the seals thereof. Who is worthy to redeem the world back to God? And no man, notice, no man in heaven, nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. No man can redeem the world, not even Obama. He will fail just like everybody else. He's not going to bring salvation to the world. No man is able to redeem himself from sin, much less to redeem the world from sin. So no man was found worthy to open the book, neither to look thereon. No man under the earth was able, or within the earth, able to do it. The book, the title deed to the earth, if no one is able to redeem it, it means that the earth will go on under the control and power of Satan. And John cannot stand this thought, that Satan would continue to rule over this world that God created. And thus John begins to cry. One of the translations is, he began to sob convulsively, because no man was found worthy to open or to read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders said unto him, Weep not, for behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. Don't cry, John. The Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, an obvious reference to Jesus Christ. He has prevailed, and he will open the book and loose the 7 seals. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne. Now, earlier in chapter 4, we saw that the cherubim were there in the midst of the throne. They're in that heavenly scene. And here we find in the midst of the throne were the 4 cherubim, and in the midst of the elders there stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns, 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God, which are sent forth into all the earth. And he came and he took the scroll out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. The Lion of the tribe of Judah, but as John looks to see him, he doesn't see a lion, but he sees him as a lamb that had been slaughtered or slain. He comes and he takes the scroll out of the right hand of him who is sitting upon the throne. When we think of seeing Jesus, have you ever wondered what he might look like? I think that though there is no real description in the Bible of Jesus, I think that all of us somehow in our minds picture him as the perfection of beauty, without any flaws, perfect. It's interesting that when John first sees Jesus, you know, we sing, face to face, I shall behold him. Face to face, what will it be? When in rapture I behold him, Jesus Christ who died for me. And I think we almost romanticize on seeing Jesus for the first time and the thrill and the excitement and the joy of seeing our beautiful Lord. But perhaps our first view of him will be a shock. In the book of Isaiah, as it is describing our Messiah, our Savior, Jesus, chapter 53, it said, and when we see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. As John sees him, he sees him as a lamb that has been slaughtered. I wonder if this indicates, and I don't say that it does, but I just wonder, that Jesus there in heaven still bears the mark, or the marks of the cross. In, again, Isaiah, it said his face was so battered that you couldn't recognize him as a human being. We know that they had plaited the crown of thorns and put it upon his head. We know that they had put a sack over his head and they began to hit him with their fist and say, prophesy, who hit you? And his face, no doubt, was swollen beyond recognition. His face so marred, you couldn't even recognize that he was a human being. The abuse that he took from men, sinful men. And I wonder if he still bears those marks. It's interesting, after his resurrection, they seem to have difficulty recognizing him. No one dares to ask him, who are you, knowing that it was the Lord. The two disciples on the road to Emmaus didn't recognize him until he broke the bread, and they no doubt saw the nail-pierced hands, and then they recognized it was Jesus. Thomas, you remember, when they told him that Jesus had risen from the dead, he said, I don't believe it, and I won't believe it until I can put my fingers there in the nail print in his hand and put my hand in his side. And when Jesus appeared again to the disciples, Thomas present, he said to Thomas, okay, Thomas, go ahead, put your finger in, touch my side, see if it isn't me. And Thomas said, Lord, I believe. But the marks were still there. And I wonder if they are still there, even in heaven, because John sees him as a lamb that has been slaughtered. I think that's a possibility. I don't say that it is a reality, but I do think it is a possibility. And I'm just trying to warn you, don't be shocked when you see him, because you may not see him as you envision him in your mind, or as you see the paintings of Jesus and his handsome face and all. It may be that he still bears the marks of the cross. If so, how do you suppose will be your reaction and response to him, seeing him in this condition? Bearing the marks of sinful man who beat him without mercy. To see him in that condition, I believe that it will just really tear at our hearts when we actually realize what Jesus suffered to redeem us from sin. When we behold him and we recognize how much he suffered to save us from the powers of darkness. I don't believe that he'll bear the marks through all eternity, but I do believe that it is possible that he will bear the marks until the transaction is completed, that is, the full redemption. we do not yet